Men, if you answer yes to any of these questions, you could be suffering from low testosterone. Do you have low sex drive? ED, always tired, depressed, loss of muscle mass, obese, loss of focus and drive? You, my friends, need to get your numbers checked. Check out Men's Health of Mississippi, located in Madison, Mississippi, and online at menshealthms.com. Guys, get your numbers checked today. Trust me, she'll thank you for it. I promise. menshealthms.com. Men's Health of Mississippi. All right, you tuned in to the Free Range Human Show of Choice, your daily dose of reality radio. It starts right now. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I'm, of course, Clay Edwards. Good morning, everybody. I have some breaking news to start the show with. Get the breaking news sounder tuned up. Ain't that how you used to come across the AP wire? That's why they call it the wire. They're literally like... I drove through some rain coming in this morning. Yes, rain. I actually had to cut my windshield wipers on for more than one bump. I actually put them on low. Back and forth. Now, was it a monsoon? No. Will it do anything? No. But hey, I think a storm came through yesterday too. My car was wet when I got outside from what I was doing. I have a screenshot of what appeared to be a storm on radar. But maybe our grasses will get a little wetter. My backyard smells like dog poo. It definitely needs some rain back there. So anyway, good morning. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Let's start with this. Be sure you're following me on social media. I'm all over the place, from TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X, aka Twitter. At some point, we're just going to call it X. But if you're just tuning in, you've been asleep for a month, coming out of a coma, whatever. Twitter is now called X. I'm on there everywhere at SaveJXN. At SaveJXN. It may say Clay Edwards in the name, but the address, the at, is SaveJXN. Also, I'm gonna wear this out, man. I am participating in the Real Men Wear Pink fundraiser to save the Tatas this year. I like tatas. You like tatas. The women like tatas. We know they got them. But let's save them. Let's come up with a cure for breast cancer. If you're interested in donating to my campaign, hit me up. I'll send you the direct link, the barcode, the link, however you want it. I will text it to you, email it to you, whatever, and you can donate. My email address, clay@wyab.com. CLAY, clay@wyab.com. Contrary to popular belief, my name does not start with a K. It starts with a C. Lance, you know who I'm talking to. Anyway, so let's try to raise some money there. I'm competing against a bunch of other very, very good, great men from this local area, including Kevin Roberts over at Fit Chef and Joseph Stodgel down at Martin's Downtown, and several other great guys to raise some money to help fight breast cancer. Would love to at least hit my minimum, $5,000. Just trying to raise $5,000. We've done that before. I know my audience seems real good at, and then whether it's social media or I hate referring to it as my audience. Yeah, I work for y'all. Y'all don't work for me. My supporters. How about that? My supporters have always been really good at raising money for individual needs. Like, say, John Doe's house burned down last night, or somebody's kid is sick. Man, we jump into action, son. If there's a tornado coming through, like what happened up in the Delta, water's out, whatever the case may be. I mean, we jump into action. We throw an event. Next thing you know, $4,000 or $5,000, whatever the amount is, we got it raised. Boom. But we've been a little slow on this breast cancer stuff. We've been a little slow on. I don't know if it's because it's a national organization or what it is. And I'm not calling nobody out here by no means. Maybe this just ain't what my audience is plugged into. But I do want to mention it. I would appreciate all of your donations. Thank you for that. Let's jump straight in. Oh, yeah, one more thing. The Guns and Gear text line. If you want to communicate throughout the show, 769-241-1944, 769-241-1944. I will read your text on air. Keep it clean And if you're new to texting, please shoot me a name or an alias that you would like to be called, because I do not like saying unknown texter. Also, the phone line, 601-879-0002. Okay, let's jump in. Why is it that Kenneth Stokes is the only person in Jackson, Mississippi with any common sense? Kenneth Stokes just keeps coming around the mountain when he comes. He just keeps on coming around. Good common sense. I mean, if you had told me 10 years ago that I'd always be agreeing with Kenneth Stokes, I'd have called you a liar. I'd have probably punched you, because I'd have taken that as you were calling me a communist. Anyway, I'm kidding a little bit, but here's on WLBT. Kenneth Stokes wants to ban face mask in city businesses. Says doing so could reduce crime. There it is. There it is. Let's read it. This is on WLBT. Jackson City Councilman says he wants to ban people from wearing masks in stores, saying doing so could cut down on crime. Ward 3 Councilman Kenneth Stokes plans to introduce an ordinance at the next council meeting to prohibit people, in most cases, from wearing mask coverings into businesses in the city. Quote, "You can't wear it in a bank. They won't let you come in a bank wearing that," he said. "They won't even let you wear a hat." He said the ordinance would include exceptions such as allowing face masks for health reasons. Well, we disagree on that, but anyway. So on Tuesday, Stokes introduced a proposal that would have provided penalties for wearing masks or hoods while openly carrying firearms in the capital city. However, City Council President Aaron Banks pulled the item from the agenda, saying it would violate the terms of the city's 2020 consent decree. According to that decree, a federal lawsuit against the city would be dropped if leaders would agree to not adopt any rules directly or indirectly impacting the open carry of firearms. The decree came from June 2020. I like this. The decree came in June of 2020, months after Mayor Chokwe Antor Lumumba signed an executive order temporarily prohibiting open carry, years after a state law allowing it went into effect. At the time, we separated ourselves from what the mayor did in order to protect the council from lawsuits, Banks said. If you remember, we had different elected officials from across the state, particularly across the House, that wanted to sue the city, as they should have. The Mississippi Justice Institute did sue the mayor, arguing his order violated the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution, the Mississippi Constitution, and the Mississippi State Statute, which eventually resulted in the decree. We cannot impose or put together an ordinance that goes against the open carry law in the city. Look, I'm as open carry, closed carry as anybody. However, you shouldn't be open carrying with a gun. I mean, with a gun. I think it. I was looking at a text. Shouldn't be open carrying, or carrying it all with a face mask on. We got to have some common sense around here. If you got a gun and a face mask, I mean, we all grew up playing cops and robbers. Now some of y'all do it for a living. The bad guy has got the face mask on and the gun. I mean, I've said it on this show for the last 2 years. At this point, if I see you in a store with a mask on, I assume you're there to rob it. And I'm putting some distance between you and I. You're either stupid because you think masks work, or you're there to rob it. There's no in between as far as I'm concerned. No in between. I keep saying I'm going to say something to you fools that still wear masks, but the only people for the most part, the only people I still see doing it are little old black ladies and little old black men. And I just ain't got it in me to be rude to somebody that's old. So when I see a young person with a mask, which I don't see that much in Rankin County, God bless, God's country. I don't see that much out there. If I see a young person, I assume you're there to rob the place or you're stupid. There is no in between. I lean with Stokes on this. And I do think this lawsuit decree this federal decree being brought back up is funny, considering what's happened in New Mexico with that lunatic governor over there. going to get herself in the same situation, and they're going to end up having a decree on her. So, again, quit wearing masks. If masks worked, COVID would be gone. There wouldn't be, I saw a report the other day, there's a spike in COVID cases, and Tate Reeves won't do anything about it. As a matter of fact, I took a screenshot of it. It was on where was it? I got it right here. This is on the Mississippi Free Press. This is on their Instagram account. It said, as Mississippi's COVID-19 hospitalization spike 145%, Governor Reeves rejects mitigation efforts. That means mask mandates, y'all, by the way. Mask mandates. Vaccine mandates. Mississippi Free Press is the enemy of the state, as far as I'm concerned. Jackson Free Press, Mississippi Free Press, anything Donna Ladd is attached to, they're an enemy of the state. They're an enemy of the people. I think the state is the enemy of the people, too. So they're the enemy of the people. If masks worked, if the vaccines worked, if any of y'all shenanigans worked, there wouldn't be a 145% spike in COVID. I mean, so many of y'all ran out there. I'm tapping the vein. Put it in me, Big Daddy. More vaccine, Big Daddy. Big Daddy Pfizer. Stick me with that needle. Yeah. Booster time. Booster time. And you still got COVID. And you all put out the same tweet when you got it, or same Facebook post. I hate to inform you, I'm COVID-19 positive, but I'm grateful for the vaccine. Man, if I got the flu shot and I still got the flu, I ain't making a post talking about how grateful I am to have the flu shot. And neither are you. I saw somebody say it on maybe it was a group text I was in or social media or something. Somebody said, man, if my dog got 3 rabies shots this year and still got rabies, I'm going to have some questions. I'm going to have some questions. And I didn't even intend to get started on a COVID conversation here, but sometimes we go down rabbit holes on this show if you're new here. Let's go back. Let's start back at the beginning of this conversation. Kenneth Stokes, face mask, open carry. I want y'all's opinions. Call in or text in. Should you be allowed to open carry with a face mask? Again, I'm as Wild Wild West, open carry, guns for everybody as you can possibly be. Let felons have guns, I don't care. But not with a dang mask on. If you have on a gun and a mask, I have to assume you're there to break the law. Let's take a break real quick. This is the Clay Edwards Show. Phone line, 601-879-0002. Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. I'm curious if Hunter's listening right now over at Guns and Gear. Can I wear a mask into your store to buy a gun or to bring a gun in there for you to look at? Highly unlikely. We'll be right back. This is the Clay Edwards Show. All right, welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. We are live here on WYAB 103.9 FM. This segment is going to be brought to you by friends over at Watchman Security Services. You just heard their ad there. I ain't got to tell you a whole lot, but look, Alarm.com certified installer, service provider. I always say installer, service provider for 16 plus years at this point. If you need a home or business security system, whether it's just, a classic security system without cameras, they got you. You need to upgrade the cameras, indoor, outdoor, remote gate access with cameras. They can do it all. Smart home technology, IQ panels, doorbell cameras, indoor cameras. They got the cool moving heads, the thermostats, everything. They can do it all, man. They've been in the business going all the way back to 1977. Then founded in 87 after working for Honeywell since 77. Eric Knight founded Watchman in 1987. His son and VP, Nathan, grew up in the industry. Just good folks, man. Good, solid folks. They're going to get you taken care of. I got a buddy of mine working over there with them now. I just couldn't be happier to be affiliated with them. Just good old folks from there in Pearl, Mississippi, involved in the hot rod scene, Mississippi Hot Rod Association, the whole 9 yards. These are our neighbors. These are us. Support these folks, man. Well, hey, look, I can't tell you a single reason why you don't need cameras around your home unless you're doing something illegal. And you may need them then too. So look, get you some cameras, get you an alarm system. No matter where you live, nowhere's safe enough to assume you don't need some digital protection. You can check them out online at watchmansecure.com. That's Watchman, M-A-N, secure.com. All right. Let's read some of your texts on this David Archie stuff. I'm sorry, not David Archie. Now, between David Archie and Stokes, it's been one of those weeks. Let's see here. I had to reload the Guns and Gear text line here. It says, Beatty here, you could make the same argument for people who wear burqas. If you cover your face, you shouldn't be having on a gun. I'm old enough to remember when people who wore face masks and guns were held up at gunpoint to lay down, and you went to jail for attempted robbery. Let's see here. Debbie says, asked me, did I see the news article about Aaron Rodgers would not have torn his Achilles if he had been vaccinated. Yeah, I saw where Keith Olbermann said something crazy or celebrated Aaron Rodgers getting hurt because he didn't get vaccinated or something or another. I mean, hashtag love Trump's hate. The lunatic left. Love Trump's hate. Unless you disagree with him, then you're a literal Nazi. Jake says, my son says there's a poor girl at school, and I don't think he means financially poor, like poor little girl, at school that wears a mask on her chin all day. That's child abuse as far as I'm concerned. Parents, if you were still sending your kid to school with a face mask on, you should be mocked and ridiculed, and DHS should come see you. Is it DHS? Whoever should come see you for child abuse. If you're still riding around your car with a face mask on, you should be snatched out of it. Chris says there's still some Democrats wearing face masks up in Planet Fitness. Somebody gonna die wearing a face mask while they work out. Ridiculous. Because I guess I can make an argument for wearing a face mask in Planet Fitness too. Some dirty people up in these gyms. Let's see here. Woodrow says Donna Ladd is an abomination in Mississippi. I agree. Let's see here. Johnny says, it seems like Stokes has common sense because he opposes the mayor on every issue. You know, it's easy to, if you want to look smart, just to disagree with Chokwe on everything, and you'll look smart 99 times out of 100. I mean, the old saying, even a broke clock's right twice a day. I guess Chokwe gets it right every now and then. I think he got it right with the police chief hire. I think his back was against the wall and he had to. His light on crime, tough on citizens policies, easy on criminals, tough on victims policies, ain't polling well. It ain't skewing well in Jackson. You know who the number one U-Haul salesman of the year is? Chokwe Antar Lumumba. You know who the number one real estate agent in everywhere but Jackson is? Chokwe Antar Lumumba. If you live in Rankin or Madison County and you've recently profited well from selling your home or property, send Chokwe a thank you card. If you own commercial property that you rent in Rankin or Madison County, and you've been able to hit a lick recently in an uptick in rent, send Chokwe Antar Lumumba a thank you card. Rankin and Madison County Chamber of Commerce, tourism, your man of the year, Chokwe Antar Lumumba. I mean, he sends everybody every direction but to Jackson. That's a true statement. You can't argue it. The folks out there at the McLean Zoo, you don't exist without Chokwe Antar Lumumba. And what his administration has done to the city of Jackson and the zoo. You know, if the zoo was even still worth visiting, most people would deal with having to go through one of the worst parts of not just Jackson, but one of the worst cities in America to get to it. Most people would tolerate it. Roll the dice if it was still what it once was. But now you're just going to see a couple monkeys in a cage. I'm good, dog. I'm good. And heck, even the monkeys here attack the zookeepers. Oh. Hey, let's shift gears real quick. It's got a good text here. I'm not sure who just sent me this, but the line at Beatty Street Grocery right now is out the dough. Y'all were sending me pictures yesterday of Beatty Street. At like 1 p.m, there was still people have been in line for like 2 full hours, and we're still nowhere near the entrance. I mean, where you pay the counter. I heard stories about people calling in to-go orders at 9 o'clock in the morning and them not being ready to pick up till 1. Now, I'm not saying this to hate on Beatty Street. I'm just saying this because this is how busy they've been. You guys, you know, if we supported businesses like this while they were still actively in business, none of them would go out of business. I'm just saying. If we supported them when they were open regularly, not doing a grand closing week, they probably wouldn't be doing a grand closing week. They'd find a way to get it to the next bunch of folks that wanted to run it. But hey, it is what it is. Get out there, support them this week. Your last chance. I think they're closing at 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. Friday. So you got 2 days. You got today, you got tomorrow. Get in line. I wish it was raining, like really raining today. I'd go get an umbrella and get in line. But as life goes. Let's see here. Let me read a few more texts and we'll shift gears. We'll take a break and we'll shift gears. I got a fun article here about Joe Rogan. And then I want to get into this Biden stuff. The Democrats have hit the eject button on Biden. Will Biden eject, though? It's going to be interesting. As here, Reagan says, was going to Beatty Street today but cannot stand in those lines. Have not been there in decades. I haven't been there in 5 or 6 years. Hey, Clay, the folks from DHS will be wearing a mask. The folks from DHS will be wearing a mask, Frisco. Gina, thank you for the text from Beatty Street. I'll take a sausage po' boy, everything on it but onions. Extra mayo. I'm white. I like extra mayo. What can I say? Let's take a break real quick, come back. A new article says that women, millennials and Generation Z women don't want to date men who listen to Joe Rogan. It's a new poll. I got questions. We'll be right back. This is the Clay Edwards Show. Are you thinking about going out this weekend? Are you thinking about messing around and finding out? Well, when you do mess around and find out, you may end up in jail, whether it be Hinds County, Rankin County, Madison County, or any of the little towns in between. And if you do, hey, look, I have a long and glorious history of messing around and finding out. And I wish I'd had a bail bondsman like Liberty Bail Bonds. If you end up in jail this weekend, get out of jail by calling
825-1077. That's Liberty Bail Bonds, serving Jackson and all surrounding areas. So if you mess around and you find out, call Liberty Bail Bonds and they'll bond you out. 601-825-1077.
All right, welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. This segment brought to you by Lakeland Glass and Tint. Get over there, see them today for all your auto and business window tinting needs, windshield, automotive glass replacement needs, vehicle wrap needs, and of course now they're doing ceramic coating and paint protection. They're the Expel Dealer of the Year. That's right, man. They use Expel tint, wraps, vehicle protection, ceramic coating, and that's one of the biggest brands in the world and the best brand in the world. And Lakeland Glass and Tint right here in Flowood, Mississippi is the #1 dealer of the year. That's huge stuff. Congratulations to Jason and his team over there. Give them a call today. Set up your appointment. Get that vehicle ceramic coated, man. You will not regret it. I'm a huge, huge believer in ceramic coating. You're buying a brand new vehicle, don't drive it through a car wash. Drive it straight over to Lakeland Glass and Tint. Get it ceramic coated. Thank me later. 601-946-1000 or LakelandGlassandTint.com. They got different on that ceramic coating. They got different packages available for every price range. You know, so if you've thought about doing it before and you're like, man, I don't want to spend that much. I don't need all that. Lakeland Glass and Tint can step you up from a basic entry level all the way up to something with a 8, 10, 12-year guarantee. So a lot of different packages available based on your needs and wants. Man, I just was playing on Facebook between break there, and I saw that September 8th was the 25th anniversary of Everlast album, Whitey Ford Sings the Blues, being released. And I was just reading the little bio about it. And it dawned on me. Everlast was Jelly Roll before Jelly Roll was Jelly Roll. A white rapper that shifted from rap to more of a country blues type thing with massive success doing so. It was Everlast. Everlast did that first. That's pretty cool. Never thought about that. Never heard Jelly Roll mention Everlast. So maybe he's not a fan. Maybe he had a bad encounter with Everlast on the white rapper circuit and didn't like him, but I think Everlast did it first. My random thought of the day there. Let's see here. What did I tell you I want to talk about? Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan. Let me open up the article real quick. Women. I'm talking to y'all right now. I know we got a lot of female listeners here. I'm talking to y'all. Here's the article. This is from Outkick.com. Millennial and Gen Z women don't want to date men who listen to Joe Rogan. Change Research surveyed 1,033 registered voters between the ages of 18 and 34 and learned that 55% of women find it a turnoff if their partner listens to Joe Rogan, the Joe Rogan Experience. Millennial and Gen Z women apparently associate Rogan listeners with MAGA Republicans. In other words, they think the pot-smoking Bernie Sanders voter is MAGA. Young women who take their cues from TikTok don't understand Joe Rogan, and they abhor Donald Trump. Over three-quarters, 76% of women said they would not date someone who supports Trump. Here's the full survey results via the New York Post. Well, I'm not going to get into all the results there. It says, women really want you to go see Barbie. The female responders obviously lean left, in part because of age demographics. There aren't too many young conservative women. My daughter is one. Very proud young little Trump supporter, a 21-year-old Trump supporter. Go MAGA. Says, one could argue that's unfortunate given a recent finding that attractive women are more likely to be right-wing. Nonetheless, if you want to date a liberal woman, and we don't recommend it, the poll says you should adopt the following habits. Find a new podcast. Never say all lives matter. Frequently say Black Lives Matter. Pretend you have a lot of hobbies, and pretend there are more than two genders. In other words, act like a liberal white lady from Gen Z. As far as green flags, women ask that you read a lot, look better in person than you do on social media. Women and men agree on those two traits. There's a bunch of green flags here. It's like a bunch of red flags and green flags. I've done several shows about red flags and green flags, so we'll skip that for now. Outkick continues on to say, we are skeptical that young men care as much that a woman likes to read, or that 18% of men want a woman who prefers cow milk, but the results are the results. Ultimately, neither young men or women have much confidence in themselves. The survey found that most responders or respondents are not confident they will ever be able to stop living paycheck to paycheck, go on vacation once a year, buy whatever they want at the grocery store, afford nice clothes, or have a reliable car. We have produced a generation of anxiety, anti-Roganism, and believers of gender theory. It's not our best work, guys. Let me tell you what 18-year-old boys think about. It ain't your politics, girls. 18 to about, how old am I, 46? From about 14 to about 46. Let me tell you what men think about. At the end of the day, you got that badonky donk. You got that badonky donk. And you look nice. We will overlook your politics. We will overlook your politics. From 14, well, let's just go to 18 for the sake of arguing here. From 18 up to about 35, I don't even know that I could spell politics. Come on, man. Men don't care. Women, if you want a man that's going to work hard, you want a man that's going to treat you right, and pull that hair every now and then, did I say that? You want a conservative man. I'm just telling you. We're on radio here. You don't want a little liberal man. You don't. I'm going to tell you, if you go, women, if you go into your man's bedroom and there's a chair in the corner, he ain't the one. If there's a chair in the bedroom, he ain't the one. I'm just telling you. Write it down. Clay said, it's like if I walk in a girl's house and she's got live, laugh, love on the wall, I'm running. I'm running out the door. If live, laugh, love is on the wall, run. She's crazy. She's crazy. If she's got live, here's some reasons to run. If her purse, when she shakes it, it sounds like the Rankin County mating call, and you can tell there's a bunch of pills in there. If she has more than one cat, and if she has live, laugh, love on the wall. If she got all three, it's too late. It's too late. She's already planning on how she's going to kill you. So, just a food for thought. But get you a conservative man. You won't regret it. Most conservative men, they've got their testosterone levels checked. They're peaking up there in the 900s. They're working out. And we've seen tons of articles about this. There was a whole viral article a while back. A girl said, a liberal woman, she's like, ugh, I hate it. Like, all the manly men that I like are all conservatives. Are there no manly Democrat men? No, there's not. I mean, I know there's a unicorn here and there, but for the most part, there's not. Let's take a call real quick. We got Derek on the line. Hey, brother.
Of course there are no manly Democrat liberal men, because they're nothing but a bunch of soy boys.
They got the rainbow flag flying everywhere they go.
Yeah, a bunch of soy boys with those stupid little beanie hats on their head and so, then they try to copy manly features by growing a beard that makes them even look more foo-foo than they are if they don't have one. So, no, of course not. But then another thing, too, what people don't understand is, if you notice, as you said, Clay, the fat purple-haired baristas are all liberal.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so, yeah, when you hit on something earlier, like especially in the black community, where almost 72% are morbidly obese. It got so bad that one of the HBCUs in Atlanta had to cancel the sports programs because all the girls were coming there obese.
Golly.
I can't remember I think that was Spelman College. Kevin Samuels used to report on that all the time.
We miss him.
Miss him a lot. But the only thing I don't care for about the manosphere and the red pills and things like that, seems like everybody that gets on there and talks about it is somehow rich.
True enough.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yep, I like Rich Cooper. I think he's funny because he don't really try to be funny, which makes him funny. But yeah, I don't care too much for the manosphere. It ain't rocket science to be a man. Either you are one or you aren't one. You don't have to.
No, but if you take guys like Fresh and Fit and and Tate and all those guys, they have to make the fact that they have money a sticking point. And I'm like, wait a minute, Myra from Fresh and Fit, didn't you say you used to be a police officer? You couldn't have been rich your entire. What are you talking about? But you notice they always that sticking point that just because you're making YouTube videos and your channel's monetized, that you're making this god awful amounts of money. You can't be speaking for the average man when all you talk about is being rich and making over $150,000 a year.
Yeah,
that makes absolutely no. That's not an average world, and that's not my life. So you can't be talking to me. You understand? Yeah, so I don't listen to none of that crap.
Yeah, Fresh and Fit got demonetized on YouTube the other day. So, hey, I'm gonna take a break, brother. Appreciate you.
All
right. Good call there from Derek. Before we take a break, let's read some of y'all's text. They coming in hot. Let's see here. Unknown texter said, every white woman in Flowwood has live, laugh, love in her house. I said, avoid Flowwood. He said, hashtag 25 years too late. Speaking of obese women, I recently flew from Jackson to Atlanta. The flight was full of 400-pound plus young women. Whoo-wee. Dagwood said, if a female is riding in a car with a liberal male and they have a flat, they'll have to flip a coin to see who changes the tire. They'll have to call their AAA because can't neither one of them change a tire. Anthony says, liberal men peace sitting down. Touche. Unknown texture said, Rankin County mating call made me laugh. That's it, man. You hear that pill bottle shaking? That's the Rankin County mating call. You go out into the wild, go out to Walmart in Rankin County, shake it. Scott County, Simpson County, the counties. I just generically call it Rankin. You get out there, predominantly white areas, go in the mall and shake that pill bottle, they'll just start poking up like a deer call. All right. We're going to take a break on that. There's nothing I can add to that. We'll be right back on the...
Hey, guys. Clay Edwards here. I want to tell you real quick about RC Lawn Care. My buddy Richard Coley is going to be the guy you need to contact for all of your lawn maintenance needs. You can reach him at 601-502-3529. They offer roof to curb service, blowing off the roof, gutter cleaning, basic lawn care, including mow, trim, edge, and blow, full lawn cleanup, trash removal, garden supplies delivered, pine straw installs, driveway and sidewalk pressure washing. If grass is growing, you need RC Lawn Care Mowing. Again, 601-502-3529. Richard Coley at RC Lawn Care, proud sponsor of the Clay Edwards Show podcast.
Back in to the free range human show of choice, your daily dose of reality radio. This is the Clay Edwards Show. All right, let's pick back up real quick. I want to just kind of end the hour on a lighter note. Let's talk about this millennial men and women stuff, these liberal men, liberal women. I was kind of perusing through these red flags and green flags they look for in partners. Here's some of the green flags that liberals look for in one another. Overwhelmingly, they want somebody that reads. I can get down with that. Can you read my text? That's all I care about. It says 88% of women and 85% of men polled say they research for the best deals and rates before buying. 60% of women and 38% of men say they must say Black Lives Matter. 51% of women and 63% of men say they must look better in person than on their profile. Well, that's going to rule about 100% of them out. But they're going to use that filter, dog. They're going to use that filter. They are not going to look better in person. Let me disappoint you now or save you the disappointment. I'm going to quit reading the percentages here. These are just what they consider green flags. It says they take candid pictures of you. They identify as liberal. They are not on social media. Well, how are they supposed to meet? Dating apps are considered social media too, in my opinion. They or assuming that they're supposed to look better in person than in picture, you assume they met online. They say there are two. They say there are only two genders. That's a very low percentage here. Anyway, this is kind of. I don't know if I completely understand this this poll here. Anyway, guess who ain't saying Black Lives Matter? I'll give you three guesses. The first two don't count. But I'm also not saying White Lives Matter. Quit saying either of those. They sound ridiculous. Quit saying all lives matter, too. I just assumed all lives matter. I didn't know I ever actually had to say it. I also assumed that Black Lives mattered. I didn't know I had to say it. This don't seem to matter in black neighborhoods when other black people are the ones doing the crime, committing the violence. But neither here nor there. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole this morning. All right. When we come back, is Joe Biden on the way out? Have the Dems set him up to fail? And if he doesn't leave, have they set themselves up to fail with some of the articles that have come out? This has been the Clay Edwards Show. Or this is the Clay Edwards Show. We'll be right back after this top of the hour news in 7 minutes. More chaos on 103.9 FM. All right, you've tuned back in for hour number 2 of the Clay Edwards Show here on 103.9 FM WYAB. This segment going to be brought to you by our friends over at Mercy House Teen Challenge Auto Center right down there in Crystal Springs, Mississippi. Hey, guys, you're in the market for a vehicle? Look no further. MercyHouseAutoCenter.com. Start there. You may not want to drive all the way to Crystal Springs initially, but you will as soon as you get through looking at the website, because you're going to find a car you like, and you're going to be like, man, we got to get to Crystal Springs. Is Wilson Smokehouse still open down there? Man, that used to be really good. Eat while you're down there. Anyway, Mercy House Teen Challenge Auto Center, man, they specialize in vehicles in the $10,000 to $20,000 range. They do have some lesser expensive stuff here and there, depending on the donations they get. And you may be saying, man, Clay, what do you mean donations? That's right. You got an old car sitting in your driveway, running or not. You don't feel like dealing with all the Craigslist crazies, marketplace maniacs of the world. How about you donate your car to a good cause? And hey, you ain't getting something. They ain't getting something for nothing. You get the tax write-off in return, since they're a 501c3. They're a charitable organization. The profits they make through selling these cars, once they pay their staff and all that good stuff, goes to funding Mercy House Teen Challenge, which is helping battle addiction, beat addiction, and put fathers back in homes. And we know the success rate of the nuclear family versus the non-nuclear family. We've done multiple shows about that over my 600 radio shows. Well, today's 595, but I'll round up. Anyway, check them out online, MercyHouseAutoCenter.com. Find you a great vehicle and know that the money is going to a great cause. We love folks that give back, and they give back. All right. I'm going to pull this article real quick here. Sean, of all people, sent me this. Well, actually, I told him about it, but let's see here. Guys, they are getting ready to eject Joe Biden. This came from a columnist, apparently a very popular liberal columnist that even Joe Biden is a big fan of. And the Washington Post, I guess it was yesterday, maybe the day before, David Ignatius, you liberals in your last names. Ignatius wrote. Anyway, I'm gonna read a little section of it here. Sure, I find it. It says, the columnist and occasional novelist argued that as a result of Biden's age, voters may focus more on Vice President Harris, who he noted carries a favorability rating of around 40%. He wrote that Biden has never been good at saying no, arguing that he should have resisted picking Harris as his vice president over someone like Rep. Karen Bass from California. Ignatius also said that now president should have stopped his son Hunter from joining the board of the Ukrainian energy company. And he goes on and on and on. And he basically says, he says that Biden is too old and that Biden should step down for the future of the party. And that, or he should announce he's not going to run. That way, Kamala isn't running as the president. She's not running as the incumbent because she ain't going to win either. And they say that the only way you can do it without stepping on a black woman or, looking like you're stepping on a black woman is by opening up the democratic process. Biden just ain't going to run again. He's going to finish out his term. And that way Kamala's not running as the president. So they got to talk to Biden. Me and Sean were talking on the phone this morning. I'm sure we'll dive into this tomorrow. It's going to be very interesting because now what the Democrats have done, and you have CNN all up in Biden's, not all up in his business. You have all these liberal media outlets, Morning Joe, the Washington Post. I mean, these are the very people who told us the laptop was a lie. It was Russian propaganda. Now they're admitting there's a Hunter Biden problem. They're admitting there's a Joe Biden problem. And what they're doing is now if Joe runs again, all these left-wing talking points have now become MAGA talking points. But they've been MAGA talking points. But now he literally, they're doing Trump's political ads for him. All Trump's going to do is just do screenshots of these Washington Post clips, these Morning Joe clips, all this stuff. Say even the liberals think, fill in the blank. Joe's too old. Joe's senile. Joe has a Hunter problem. Joe goes away. All the Hunter problems they get off the front page. At least that's what they think. But Kamala's got to go away too. I'm interested in the whole process here. Here's a few clips from Karine Jean-Pierre, the first gay black White House spokesperson. Her words, not mine. We've got a few clips of her. This is Pierre insisting there is no evidence, none, to support allegations of corruption against Joe Biden. Of course, aside from emails, texts, photos, visitor logs, a voicemail, and firsthand accounts. But again, no evidence.
You see Republicans in Congress, right? They have spent all year investigating the president. That's what they've spent all year doing. And have turned up with no evidence, none, that he did anything wrong. I mean, that is what we've heard over and over again from their almost year-long investigation. And that's because the president didn't do anything wrong.
The way they look you straight in the face and they lie to you, actually, she don't make eye contact with anybody. But the fact she can get up there and lie like that. But these are the same people who told us that Russia collusion was real, that the Steele dossier, the PP dossier was real. People won Pulitzer Prizes over that PP dossier. I mean, if Reggie Bush has got to give back his Heisman, they should have to give back their Pulitzers. Anna Wolf won a Pulitzer for her work on the TAMP stuff, which we're finding out it's got more holes in it than Swiss cheese. I think they're going to end up being sued and losing if this thing goes to court. I don't want to go down this TAMP rabbit hole, but if it goes to court, it's going to be a bad look for Anna Wolf and them. What's that? The Mississippi Today? Is that who they're with? Mississippi Today? I wouldn't want to be their insurance carrier. Here's some more. First gay black female spokesperson, Karine Jean-Pierre. This is how confident are you that there will be no evidence that incriminates President Biden and Hunter's business dealings? So funny.
On impeachment, you just mentioned House Republicans' baseless claims. How confident are you that there will be no evidence that incriminates President Biden in Hunter's business dealings as this goes forward?
So let me just give a little bit of a laydown here, because I think it's important. Any specifics to the inquiry? Certainly, I want to say this at the top. As I said to Darlene, I'm going to refer you to my colleagues at the counsel's office. But I also want to be clear about a couple of things. I just talked about Bidenomics. I just talked about what the president's going to do tomorrow, really deliver a major speech, something that the American people want to hear about. What are we doing to improve their lives, work on the economy? And these are real issues, real priorities for Americans. And like I said, like lowering costs. But what you see Republicans in Congress, right, they have spent all year investigating the president. That's what they have spent all year doing. And have turned up with no evidence, none, that he did anything wrong. I mean, that is what we've heard over and over again from their almost year-long investigation.
Anyway, okay, so the thank y'all for the Guns and Gear text. The writer's name over at the Washington Post is Ignatius. I do not do those kind of names well. I thought Oktibbeha County was Akatabiki my whole life up to about a year ago. I finally had to ask somebody, it's like, what is this Oktibbeha you keep speaking of? I was like, yeah, and they're like, where Starkville's at? I'm like, Akatabiki. So, don't. and down on the coast, is it Saucier? I thought that was Saucier, Mississippi. I was like, oh, you talking about Saucier? Like, Saucier. Like, Saucier. I was like, nah, whatever. Let's take a call here real quick. I don't know who this is. Hey, caller, you're on there.
Yeah, good morning.
Hey.
For all of those who think that this inquiry that's been opened up by McCarthy, that anything's going to come of it as far as Joe Biden, he's Teflon, folks. This man's been connected in Washington for 40 years. Presidents don't fall like that. Nixon didn't go to jail. He resigned. And he committed high crimes and misdemeanors, folks. Biden, this game has been played over and over again. So it's great for, rallying up the base that we're going after Biden. They went after Trump.
I know.
They're still after Trump. But guess what?
Let's agree. We agree. We agree on this. Let me ask you this without cutting you off. But we agree on that. It's not going to go anywhere. Even if they impeach him there, they ain't going to impeach him on the other side. He ain't going nowhere. Yeah. Let's fast forward though. Do you think Joe runs again, or do you think he does step back? I mean, because you got to admit, it's looking bad for the guy.
Here's what I would tell you.
What do you think he's going to do?
Biden stayed in the basement and beat Donald Trump without ever coming out of the basement. Now, what I would tell you, it depends on how the American people view Donald Trump. You put a Biden who's aging, may have some onset of dementia, possibly.
It ain't no maybe. Okay. But we'll agree to disagree.
But here's what I'm going to say. How does Donald Trump stack up against Joe Biden, even though he's the elder and may have some health issues? Will Democrats say, well, we'd rather see a Donald Trump presidency? Will the American people say we want to see a Donald Trump presidency with all the baggage that the Democrats have piled on to Donald Trump? He's damaged goods. The Republicans don't want Donald Trump. Privately, they don't want him, folks. They're just being quiet, and they're hoping he would just go away. But unfortunately, you have the ultra right wing folks that believe that he's a savior for the Republican Party. The Republican Mitt Romney is retiring, and you know why? Because he said he doesn't even recognize the Republican Party. You guys used to be about conservatism when it comes to finances, when it comes to the budget. That's a no-go. McCarthy tried to revive that, but he's not believable. He's not believable when it comes to talking about really balancing the budget or spending cuts. This is a political ploy because it's political season, folks. They haven't balanced the budget since Bill Clinton and Newt Gingrich, I believe. So all I'm telling you is this is political theater. Joe Biden will run again. He will defeat Donald Trump because Donald Trump has no pathway to victory. He can't win Pennsylvania. He can't win Georgia. He can't win Michigan. If he can't win in those battleground states, unfortunately, folks, he may run, but he cannot win. He will not win the presidency.
All right. Thanks, John. You can't win where all the cheating takes place. Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, where high crimes and misdemeanors took place. You can't win. I agree. I agree. But they can only cheat so much. But all that aside, I think they're blowing up figuratively, FBI, not literally, blowing up the Biden White House. Sean made a great point this morning in our conversation. So I want to make sure I give credit here. He says he thinks they're going to have to send Obama in to talk to Joe. It's like, Joe, you got to go. And I think privately there's going to be a conversation of, we're going to turn the machine all the way against you. We can't protect you if you continue on. You got too much dirt on your hands. Hunter's got too much dirt on his hands. And that's being very polite. I think they're going to, and I'm no political person. I just look at stuff and use common sense here. I can look at things and say something ain't right. I'm no political guru. But I agree with Sean. They're going to send an Obama type in. Whoever the puller of the strings is, for the sake of arguing, it's Obama. And just tell him, do you want to die alone at home with a blanket over your lap on your porch, or do you want to die in prison? We cannot protect you if you continue on. Let's take a break, come back. We'll pick this up. Did y'all know that the Ukrainian government has a American transgender spokesperson? And they're coming for anybody that isn't on their side. I got the video, well, the audio, and we'll continue all this. You can call in 601-879-0002. You can text the Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. We'll read some of your text when we get back. Come back into the Clay Edwards Show. Hey, guys, get out for lunch today. Martin's downtown. One of the best plate lunches you will ever put in your mouth. Today is Thursday. Today's pot roast day is the blue plate special, but man, they got the full menu available. Try the big as your head country fried steak. That's not the name of it. It's just called country fried steak, but it's the whole plate. It's huge. It's dang near one of those food challenges that's so big. The ribeye gyro is phenomenal too. And I could go on and on and on. You can check out their menu online at Martin's Downtown, JXN.com. Don't forget, coming up, September 16th. What's that? Saturday. This Saturday. Are you a Grateful Dead fan? The Lazy Lightning Band, Jackson's Grateful Dead tribute, will be live at Martin's Downtown. Man, that sounds great. So get down there, check them out. And support live music. Coming up, mark your calendars early. Saturday, October 7th. My good friends, Baby Fred, Matt, all the guys, Storage 24, going to be rocking the stage. A little bit of heavy metal down there at Martin's. Local flavor, heavy metal. And don't forget, Ribeye Steak Night tomorrow night. Right downtown Martin's. Or Martin's Downtown, should I say. All right. Let's read some of your text, and we'll shift gears a little bit. Let's see here. John had called a minute ago, and he was talking about Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney does not represent the Republican Party. I'm just FYI. Not at all. He is not the standard bearer for the Republican Party, as Reagan says. Mitt Romney is a uniparty shill. At best, I mean, he's really a Democrat. Let's just be honest. Him, John McCain, rest in hell, all Democrats. Period. So they do not represent MAGA. I like saying MAGA. You know, John said that Trump, that we look at Trump as a savior. He's right. He's our Lord and Savior, Daddy Trump. Let's read a few more of your texts real quick. I was hosting Kim Wade's show one day. One of his callers called in, and I told him that he was talking about Trump, and I said Trump was our Lord and Savior. I ain't never heard one of Kim's callers go speechless. One of his crazy Democrat callers, but he was speechless. He's click. Let's see here. Unknown texter says that Democrat that just called is a deep thinker with a shallow mind. Spartacus says Trump is the savior. Trump will win those battlefield states. Best president of the 21st century. Absolutely. Roger says Romney is a Democrat in disguise. I just got dumber from John's statements. Let's take a call here real quick. Hey, you're on there.
Good morning, Clay. It's Jason. Man, I was listening to the station yesterday afternoon when Charlie Kirk came on, and you brought up Mitt Romney, and he said he wasn't running for re-election for his seat. What happens if he throws his hat into the ring for an unnamed party? You know, there's a couple of states that he's got the possibility to win in a general election, which would throw the Electoral College all in a loop.
Yeah. Well, he also said he was too old, though, so I think that was a shot at Trump and Biden. So
Yeah,
I don't think he would talk about his age and still run, but who knows? I don't put anything past these devils.
Yeah. Those guys, like I said, age doesn't mean anything, and integrity is something that is definitely lost. But they had a good spin on it, saying that if he would win Arizona and Utah, possibly, that nobody would get to 270, and that it could throw the whole Electoral College idea out the window. So, just something to think about, that it may be that the Democrats realize that, hey, you know what, without somebody throwing a curveball in here, we can't win. So, something to think about.
Absolutely, brother. Holler at me sometime.
Right, man.
Hey, I want to get you back on here and tell some Uber stories sometime.
Oh, absolutely, my friend. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll hit you up later on. We'll talk about something.
All right, sounds good. We good.
All right, great.
Bye. Yeah, I had a crazy Uber incident over the weekend. I'm gonna call it an incident. It was an adventure, a crazy Uber adventure. I've had it in my notes here to talk about for a whole week, but I think I want to wrap it into a nice whole segment about Uber and some crazy Uber tales. I've been having Uber drivers send me their messages of crazy stories. So I'm compiling that, and we'll get y'all some fun Uber stories. Maybe that'll turn into a weekly segment. Maybe I shouldn't give away all my ideas and other people steal them, but you heard it here first. Let's see here. Okay, I told you all about the transgender spokesperson in the Ukraine. So as a transgender spokesperson says that Ukraine will hunt down Russian propagandists around the world. Well, I say, come and get it. I'm right there in Brandon, Mississippi. Let me play this nonsense for you. Because of course, the Ukraine, the LGBTQ agenda capital of the world, where they're funneling all this rainbow money to. Of course, they have a transgender American spokesperson. If you really need the visual to go with this, go to my Twitter, my X, whatever, and just search Save JXN. That's my handle. And look on my feed. I think it's the last thing I retweeted. I'll be right there at it. Anyway, take a listen.
Russia hates the truth that their obsessive focus on a Ukrainian volunteer is simply allowing the light of the Ukrainian nation's honesty to shine brightly. Next week, the teeth of the Russian devils will gnash ever harder, and their rabid mouths will foam in uncontrollable frenzy as the world will see a favorite Kremlin propagandist pay for their crimes. And this puppet of Putin is only the first. Russia's war criminal propagandists will all be hunted down, and justice will be served as we in Ukraine are led on this mission by faith in God, liberty, and complete liberation.
Did they say, here, I want to listen to this part again.
Next week, the teeth of the Russian devils will gnash ever harder, and their rabid mouths will foam in uncontrollable frenzy as the world will see a favorite.
Well, it sounds like they're talking about Democrats. Foaming at the mouth, uncontrollable frenzies, screaming at the clouds. Y'all, you don't have to like me, but don't trust nothing these people say. Apparently they were referring to, let's see here, this is another tweet from the same person. It says the announcement came ahead of criminal trial of Chilean-American journalist Gonzalo Lira, who has been charged with justifying Russia's aggression, denying/glorifying Russian war crimes, and undermining Ukraine's leadership and defense forces. That's what they're going to try to do to Elon. I mean, you're now no longer allowed to disagree with anything. What about all the hippies back in the 60s? All the anti-war hippies. It was okay then, Democrats. It was okay then to disagree with war. But now it's not. Make it make sense. When did Democrats become the big pro-government, pro-state, pro-war, pro-censorship party? It's mind-boggling to watch. You know, I saw a stat last night. I'm going to read this. I got to take a break. I sent this over to my good friend and yours, Kim Wade. Listen to this. Almost 25 million people now work for the government, and 90% of those vote communist, socialist, Democrat. That's not an accident. Guys, we are already at war, already at civil war with ourselves. 90% of the 25 million people who work in government vote Democrat. Let's take a break. Come right back. This is the Clay Edwards Show. All right, welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. Hey, guys, don't forget, next Friday, Stonington Farms will be up here in the Tri-County area making drop-offs in Florence, Brandon, and Ridgeland of the grass-fed difference. That's right, 100% grass-fed and finished beef from Stonington Farms right down there in Perkinston, Mississippi. Man, get your orders in now. Give Miss Katie Stonington a call. But start on their website. Look at their cuts. They got all the prices and everything there. It's updated regularly. Let them know. They'll let you know what's available. She'll send you over your invoice. You'll know exactly what you're going to owe. They take cash, cards, however you want to pay when they get here. They would show up in a big wrapped Stonington Farms mobile, big van, big cargo van, whatever you want to call it. Looks like a big UPS truck. Repurposed. Anyway, and you will not be disappointed. It's 100% antibiotic, steroid, and mRNA-free, grass-fed, and finished beef. I eat it almost nightly and love it. I made some tacos last night with some of my grass-fed ground beef. And look, you may be thinking to yourself, man, Clay, that sounds expensive. I'm sure there's a minimum order. Probably got to spend $100. Absolutely not. You can get as little as 1 pound of ground beef or one steak, or you can get a whole cow. They'll work all that out with you. Just go to StoningtonFarm.com. That's Stonington with 2 N's.com. All right. Terry asked me on my Facebook, says, Clay, what does a man having a chair in the corner of his bedroom mean? I don't get that. Google cuck. C-U-C-K. I think you'll find all the answers you want right there. I got an interesting video here. I want to shift gears a little bit. I'm still talking about how crazy Democrats are. I know y'all have seen this video floating around of, was it one of the Kennedys reading a graphic book aloud in a hearing. Now, you can't play this on national TV or radio, but radicals want it in children's schools. Well, I have edited the video here. Here's what we can play on the radio. Now, again, this is against FCC violations. You wouldn't want your children in the car to hear this. You wouldn't want your mother to hear this. But it's okay for our school children to hear these. We got great organizations like Moms for Liberty out there fighting against this stuff. You know, but you'll look, it's really weird, man. You'll get on these Facebook groups. There's a lot of these Madison and Rankin County moms that are trying to fight to keep these books in these very school libraries. I got a problem with it. Here's an excerpt. Here's the video of Kennedy reading this on Capitol Hill Tuesday.
The first one is called All Boys Aren't Blue. And I will quote from it. I put and got and I began and kissed him while he Eventually, I felt a mix of pleasure with the pain. Close quote. The second.
That's all I'm going to do. I can't take no more of the beeping. You get the point. You get the point. You can't say this over the airwaves, but it's perfectly okay for your children to read this stuff in schools. I declare. Sick individuals. I tell you, I think we're going to have to start rounding them up. We're going to have to start sending some Democrats to re-education camps. I'm just going to say it out loud. We're going to have to unbrainwash some of the LGBTQ mafia, particularly the T's. My goodness. And somebody's going to take that serious, but I am serious. We got some serious re-education to do in America. I mean, we're going to have to start with dissolving the Department of Education. We're going to have to start there. Let's read some of your text messages here. Reagan says, I'm trying to figure out where to start with this. 10 years ago, I could not have dreamed of the world we are living in today. They used to be wrong, but they were rational wrong. Now they are raving lunatics, just foaming at the mouth, like the Ukrainian transvestite said. Unknown texter says, oh my God, holy crap, that Kennedy clip tops the Stokes hell to the no-no. Yeah, y'all can find the actual clip somewhere online. It's all over the place. Let's see here. Unknown texter. Oh, this is Myram. Myram says, I can't read that. Woodrow says, if you work for the federal government, you should not be able to vote in federal elections. It's a conflict of interest. I agree in the basis of that, but I think everybody should be able to vote. Let's see. Unknown texter says, White House in meltdown, panic because there's quote-unquote no evidence. Oh, yeah, going back to our older conversation there. Let's see here. It says the high number of Dem voters proves the mental health is out of control. Yeah, and Chad, I see all your texts too, brother. I appreciate your text, Chad. Bobcat, just from a little bit ago, says, for here's the thing, John. Watergate was essentially a business burglary committed without Nixon's consent. What exactly were his high crimes and misdemeanors? Well, he was a Republican, Bobcat. You know that's a felony now. It's a felony to be a Republican. We got a real mental health problem in America. All you got to do is look on social media, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. Like I said, I go down these TikTok rabbit holes. I like sending people videos. It's mindless entertainment. There's some good stuff on there too. It is what you make of it. But there's a lot of sick people on there, especially if you stumble off into the TikTok lives. Some really, really strange stuff going on. We have a legitimate mental health problem in this country, and it's exasperated by mainstream media, social media, and nobody wanting to hurt anybody's feelings anymore. I mean, look no further than that poll that I talked about earlier about Gen Z and millennial women don't want to date a man that listens to Joe Rogan. Why? Because you don't want a man that speaks the truth? You don't want a man that'll tell you how it is? I mean, every now and then, the people I respect the most in my life, as I look back through it, at the ripe old age of 46, as I look back through life, I respect the people the most, and I'm most grateful for the people who told me the truth along the way, who told me the things I didn't want to hear. Those are the people that I respect the most, not the ones who didn't want to hurt my feelings, not the ones who coddled me, the ones who beat my butt and told me the things I didn't want to hear. To this day, those are the people I respect the most. We got to get back to that. We got to get back to beating our children, publicly and privately. I mean, just walking them up and down the aisle at the grocery store, just teaching them some respect. We got to get back to letting the teachers tear that butt up. I'm talking about get that paddle, drill the air holes in it so it flows better. No drag. And I mean just whooping that butt. If I ever run for politician of anything, whether it's a board of aldermen, city council, mayor, dog catcher, I'm running on the platform of we got to start beating our kids some more. And I think that's how you make America great again, is wearing them little butts out. Let's take a break, come back, land the plane for the day. This is the Clay Edwards Show. Beating kids when necessary. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show as we land the plane for the day. Let's read a couple of your texts on the Guns and Gear text line. Says, unknown texter here. Unknown texter, shoot me your name if you're still listening. Says, we used to call that the circle dance. Grab you by one arm, going around in a circle while tearing that butt up. Unknown texter says, Nixon definitely was high crimes, one being removing the U.S. from the gold standard. Well, I can definitely see that. Tony, I love Tony. T.Y. says, I will not talk in church to this day because my grandfather carried me out of church by my ear with one hand and whipping that leather belt through the loops with the other. It worked. It does, man. I mean, it's like getting popped on the hand. Hey, also, Chad wanted me to let y'all know September is Suicide Awareness Month. Man, if you are in a deep, dark place and you're considering suicide, call 988, please. The life you have, no matter how bad it is better than no life at all. Even if your parents tearing that butt up. Please don't kill yourselves. We need you here. We need you here. I love you if nobody else does. As long as you vote for Trump. Let's see. All right. Man, I just remember, man, my parents, look, I grew up on a healthy diet of getting my butt tore up. Not like that, Democrats. And I remember we were at the Hill one time. I got about a minute left here. We were at the Hill restaurant over in South Jackson one time. I don't remember what I did, messing with my sister, showing my butt, whatever. And my dad told me, he said, when we get home, go pick the belt. And that was the worst, right? When they told you to go pick the belt, I tried to go get the most non-pliable, wouldn't bend, it's like, all right, this one ain't going to hurt as much. And the easier I tried to make the belt, the worse the belt he picked. And I remember getting my butt tore up so bad one time. It was a combination of laughing and crying. And the more I laughed, the more he beat. And I don't want to press charges or nothing. I'm just saying, nobody call the child abuse hotline. It's too late. 30 years too late. All right, look, it's been a fun show today. I'll see y'all back here tomorrow with Sean York-Cron. Podcast to be available shortly. Peace.
Thanks for listening. Tune in tomorrow at 7 a.m. as the Clay Edwards Show discusses all that is going on in and around the city of Jackson.
This concludes our broadcast day.
Right here on 103.9 WYAB.